Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I know things are looking a little bit weird, but I wanted to do a little bit of a different video here today, talking kind of what I've been getting into over the past little bit. The past, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks or so, a little bit on stream, mainly off stream. But also just talk, as this is an MMO channel, a bit about what I think is a really interesting game mode and a really interesting really interesting thing to come out relatively recently. So if you don't know, this is World of Warcraft. I've been playing this game kind of on and off since like the last season of the last season of Battle for Azeroth, which was like a couple years ago. At this point, I think almost 4. But I never really played much back in the day, but I got into it with some friends and we play it on and off. And just recently, I got back into it due to a limited time game mode that's going on right now called the Mists of Pandaria Remix, which is Mists of Pandaria is an old expansion that takes place down here in Pandaria, sort of a Eastern themed expansion with panda people, and you can kind of get an idea of what it's like with the locale around me. But it's been an interesting experience to go back through and play on. You make new characters, and there's whole different systems to the game. There are these little special ability stuff you get for your gear and stuff like that. There's these stat gems that you build up, like stack up from doing different things, and you keep them in your inventory. It has its own special currency called bronze, which is used to buy everything from, or do anything from upgrade your gear to buying some rare transmog and stuff. I'm gonna go just show you one of the vendors just so you can get an idea. Like here's a whole bunch of different mounts and stuff like that. I think I have I was missing one of them, but there's a whole bunch of different stuff. But I want to talk about this like more conceptually, and if you've never played WoW, or if you have any, played at some point and maybe thought about coming back for this, there's about a month of it left. I think it's definitely worth it for the experience. I'm not exactly sure what you need to own to be able to play this. I apologize. I'm not sure if you have to own like Shadowlands or the newest expansion, or like as long as you owned up till Dragonflight. Like, I'm not exactly sure. I haven't bought the newest expansion. I just have Dragonflight. So I assume you need Dragonflight because kind of the time traveling thing is Dragonflight related, but maybe not. Maybe you can just log in and play this, or maybe you just need a sub. But I want to talk about this more conceptually and why this works in WoW, and why this is a fun limited time game mode in WoW, and what this possibly could mean for the future, or something for other MMOs to do. Now, this is really cool because it gives players an excuse to go back to old expansions or expansions they never got to experience when it was current content, and get to do the dungeons, get to do the raids. But kind of the way they're doing it here is in a relatively low stress environment. You end up way overpowered for the content, especially if you put in the effort to max out your gear. Which is both a good thing and a bad thing. It can be a bad thing because it's it's fun to struggle a bit, fun to get that simple accomplishment, but definitely for a shorter, like 2 month or so, 2.5 month adventure, it's definitely nice that it's kind of tuned to be quite a bit easier, so you can just run around and play through all the quests in all these areas. You can get your reputations with all these factions that are going on here, experience some of the post-expansion launch content in like these 2 areas over here, world bosses, that kind of stuff. It's really cool, and it's really something that only WoW can kind of get away with. If I had to compare this to something, I would be comparing it to like region locked Iron Man and like RuneScape, which is very much a community driven kind of thing. This kind of feels like that, but also a little bit of like Path of Exile kind of thing, where it's like there's a seasonal thing that's limited time, and there's like a special bonus for the season or whatever that you get to do something weird. So that's kind of like the vibes this gives me, but it's a lot of fun, and there's not a lot of other games that have enough content to be able to do this. And this is also something I would love to see them do more of. I would love to see to go to other expansions, even expansions that people might not necessarily remember as fondly as Mists of Pandaria. Like, heck, I wouldn't mind a run back of like Classic, but in this era of World of Warcraft. So the advantage of stuff like that is we have the new talent trees and stuff like that. We have the new specs. For example, I'm playing Survival Hunter, a melee hunter spec. This spec didn't exist until 2 expansions after the Mists of Pandaria. So I wouldn't even be able to play my class, the class I really like, if it was a true Mists of Pandaria relaunch. But it's cool to be able to go back, and more importantly, it helps you build out your transmog and mount collections for the current game. It makes it really easy to go through and collect all these sets that otherwise you might have to like RNG your way through and can be a pain in the butt. And it's real nice just to be able to go through and grind them all out and just, have them if I ever want them kind of thing. It's actually like really nice to be able to do that. And I really appreciate it. And the same thing with mounts. There's a lot of mounts and stuff that were kind of a pain to get or kind of rely on either really low drop chances or just new mounts added specifically for this game mode. That's nice to be able to go through and see. Like this thing here, this was new for this game mode. This was like for doing some of the achievements here, and there's cool little toys for it. And it's also like, it's a perfect... World of Warcraft is kind of a game that sometimes has a problem with like not having enough stuff for you to kind of casually do. Like if you're not really a hardcore raider, you don't like to push the dungeons that hard. This is something cool you can do if you're not into that kind of thing, which I am really into the dungeons, but it was cool to come back and do this and just kind of like chill for a bit. It's also something nice and fun to do between expansions. And I think this is a really refreshing and like fun idea to do. It's also extremely fast to level. I've made like, I don't know, 7, 8 characters in this game mode, and it's been a blast to just absolutely destroy those levels. And just prep a entire alt army for the next expansion or Mog farms. Anyone you see here with these hourglasses next to them, these are the characters. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 of them actively playing. This one down here is just because, but I have 6 of them that I am actively playing and actively doing stuff on. But yeah, if you've been wondering where I've been or what streams have been out recently, this is what we've been doing mainly. We've been getting back into World of Warcraft leading up to the new expansion coming out. I've also been playing a little bit of Final Fantasy as well, just going through the story there. But like, so we're a Guild Wars 1 channel partially, right? And, Guild Wars 2 or even Final Fantasy, due to the way a lot of the other MMOs structure their expansions, I don't think something like this really could work as well in those games. I think this is something kind of unique to World of Warcraft and something that uniquely World of Warcraft can pull off and do not just the thing that I mentioned before about them having a lot of stuff to go through, but also just because their expansions are connected but also kind of fragmented. Games like Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy, the expansions are one long story more or less. So it'd be hard to like section off characters and have them be in this like special little time capsule. But it works well here, and I hope Blizzard does continue to do it. If for no other reasons, then I would like to collect more rare mounts that I don't have to farm for 1% drops, and I can just play this game mode and get an experience. Or I'd like to get more transmog, because there's hundreds of items in this game, and it bothers me that I don't have a lot of them. But it's also kind of a nightmare to try to figure out how to go and get every single one and stuff like that. So, it's nice in that aspect to just be able to basically be like, all right, you play this thing, you play enough of it, you're going to end up with all the transmog from this thing. I should probably also mention how the infinitely scaling power works here. So essentially you have a special cloak here, and you get a drop from basically everything that gives you bonus stats. And this scales basically infinitely. There is a theoretical cap that I've heard, but it is ridiculously high, and this not only does this give you a reason to keep playing your character, it also lets them give you rewards for doing basically any random thing. So if you're you want the mogs, you want the mounts, you want that kind of stuff, they can give you bronze. Or if you're a power gamer, they give you more threads to go on your cloak to give you more stats. My only kind of complaints with this going into if they do more of these is there's a bonus drop rate for how fast you get stuff like bronze now compared to the launch of this event. Keep it at this rate. This rate feels good. On top of that, the fact is you do have to use bronze to upgrade your gear as well, and it would be nice if the currency to upgrade your gear and the currency you use to buy transmogs and stuff like that was something different. But outside of that, I actually think this is a pretty home run of a thing, and it's probably pretty easy for them to do. They just had to repurpose some assets, make a couple new things to chuck in here as rewards, drum up a couple new achievements, and besides that, just kind of let us loose in this area and let us reuse and get all this content to hold us over into the expansion. But that's the end of my little ramble today. I just wanted to talk about this game mode. And I actually be kind of curious, do you think there's any other MMOs that could really pull off this style of thing where they essentially region or time lock you in their content? And which ones do you think it would actually go over well in? It's not an active MMO, but I could totally see in Guild Wars 1 where you had different stories that were semi-connected but mainly not. You could region lock people there and probably get an interesting experience. That could be an interesting self-challenge. But in Final Fantasy where it's one long story, I don't think that necessarily works as well. Guild Wars 2, I don't think so either. Games like Black Desert maybe could do it, but not exactly sure it works super well in that game due to how gear acquisition and everything like that works in that game. And I'm trying to think of some other MMOs that I've played. I think that's about it from at least my recent experiences. Lost Ark, it wouldn't really work with either. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video talking about what I've been up to and me singing my praises of this. I do think you should give it a try if you're someone who played during MOP and enjoyed it, or you've never played WoW. WoW's going into an expansion soon. I know it's a game that can be a little off-putting to a lot of people, but it really is I have had a lot of fun playing this game, and despite some of my gripes with it, I have gripes with every game. There's something wrong with every game, so it's not perfect, but I do think I'm going to be honest, if you're going to play an MMO and you're going to play an MMO for a long period of time, it's still probably by far the best one to do it, because even its main competitor, something like Final Fantasy, really more of a solo story game. Not really as much of an actual MMO where, you get to play with other people. The main drive to that one is the good storytelling and stuff like that. And I guess the shared story experience with others is enjoyable and stuff like that. But anyway, that's going to be all for today's video. I'm glad you came out and gave this one a little bit of a listen. The Guild Wars videos will resume relatively shortly. I just had some stuff pop up. I've been playing this. I had some car issues. I had some family in town. We had some other stuff going on. Just a lot of stuff. So I've been not really had 30 minutes and the motivation to start putting together the Guild Wars stuff. I believe next is Hearts of the North. If you're just here for WoW stuff, I probably will be covering a little bit of the expansion as we go into it. Maybe my thoughts with the pre-patch and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.